Super Rugby Aotearoa this weekend starts with the Saturday game between the Highlanders and the Chiefs. Two teams coming off good wins, both knocking off what at a point in the season seemed to be the two top teams, especially the Highlanders, away win over the Crusaders. Absolutely incredible. And the Chiefs, although they come off a bye directly, week prior to that was a home win against the Blues. So both of these teams should be gunning for, I don't know, higher spots than they're in. The Highlanders are in third, the Chiefs are in fourth. So kind of important one, because if you're falling down here, you're definitely going to be, especially if you're the Highlanders with that extra game, they'll be doubling down into a negative record. They've currently got 2 wins and 3 losses. So at least the win here for them would bring them even. Whereas for the Chiefs, it would put them into positive territory. Go over the teams quickly, see some of the kind of stats between the two sides, where each side is strong and each side is weak. To be honest, they're actually running pretty similar numbers. But a few changes inside this week. They did play in round 2, and it was a bit of a topsy-turvy game where the Chiefs scored a couple of tries in the first half, and then the Highlanders in that second half absolutely blitzed them. I think it was 4 second half tries. Nadeki ended up getting a hat-trick in that game, so the Chiefs will be looking to erase some of that from their recent memory, because recent times have not been that fun for them against the Highlanders. But anyway, for the Highlanders as the home side, De Groot, Dixon and Honik are your starting front rowers. It's just Honik who swaps places with an impressive Tokolahi in the front row, so it's just kind of a bit of rotation there. Evans and Paddy Parkinson are the second row. Both of those guys have been equally very good. It's so good to have Parkinson back after a pretty long injury layoff. He's just such a man mountain that he adds that bit of extra force to whatever the Highlanders are doing. Frizzell's been really good as well, getting back to his devastating ball-carrying ways, seemingly, so he's still retained his number 6 jersey. Lyncher swaps with Harmon, who I also thought was pretty good last week. He scored a try, made a bunch of tackles, and Jimeno continues on at number 8. He's also a threat around the breakdown, so adds a bit of value there too. Aaron Smith gets a start. Remember, Fakatava is out for the season. He's picked up a knee injury, so he is done, which is devastating news. Just for rugby as a whole, but also especially for the Highlanders. Mitch Hunt, who was player of the match last week against the Crusaders, just running the show. He'll be doing well to play half as good as he did last week. He's still number 10. Gregory moves in from the wing to number 12. And remember, he put a big tackle in on Ethan Blackadder last week, so defensively he seemed pretty solid. He'll need to be the same again. Tompkinson is one of the guys who was not chosen last week due to that indiscretion off the field, but he is back in the side at 13. Nadeki, who, like I mentioned, had a pretty good run against the Chiefs. Last time they played, Punivai and Connie Garden-Bishop are the back 3. Josh Ioane is also on the bench. They got the 6-2 split, so Renton's in the 23 jersey, an extra loose forward. Hamilton is your man who comes in. And in terms of like a number 3 guy, Hamilton's pretty good. So I think they'll be pretty happy. Obviously, Fakatava would be nice to have, but more than nice to have, to be fair. But Hamilton's a capable guy to have there as well. Also, Thomas Umaga Jensen's out for the season as well, so pretty devastating in terms of like a bit of a low after what was a pretty good week last week to have 2 of your young guns out for the season. For the Chiefs, same front row as 2 weeks ago, Ross, Tokiaho and Ta'aval, so they'll be looking to put pressure on at scrum time. Tupavati is back though, that's good news in the second row alongside Akoi, and they've been, I know they're young, but they've been one of the better second rows in New Zealand this season, I feel. Combination of good ball carrying, good set piece, and good defenseman. Like, what else could you want? They kind of complement each other pretty well, those two guys. Mitch Brown and Luke Jacobson are still there at 6 and 8, and Callum Boshier has had to come in at 7. Remember, Sam Cane also out for the season. So pretty devastating news for Chiefs fans in that regard, because Sam Cane, like, he doesn't get that much credit for it, but his work rate is just amazing. He pretty much every week is the top tackler, at least for the Chiefs, and often for the game. Now, that may mean his team's not playing with that much ball, but yeah, his work rate is unquestionable. So Boschier's got some pretty big shoes to fill. That does mean that Weber is the out-and-out captain instead of co-captain. Trask is there at 10. Tupaia is in there at 12, and he ran riot against the Blues. That's why I mentioned Scott Gregory on defence. Him and Tompkinson will have to be sharp because ALB and Tupaia, as I mentioned, especially Tupaia, very, very good against the Blues. So if they are asleep, these guys will make them pay. New wingers with Nana Saturo and Jonah Lowe this week with D-Mac at fullback. Stevenson drops to the bench. Wainui's got an injury. Tia's unwell. So a little bit of an enforced change for the Chiefs there. They've got Tahuri Rangi on the bench. Nankiville. Finau drops to the bench. He started last time. So Akula's still on the bench. Yeah, both sides looking pretty strong. But as I mentioned, there's not a heap of stability. There's a fair few changes. In terms of the head-to-head stuff, they're so similar, man. Defenders beaten. I mean, the Chiefs have played one game less. So if you look at the averages rather than the totals, Chiefs average 24, defenders beaten the game, Highlanders 22, virtually the same. Clean breaks, the Chiefs edge at 10-7, but it's not a night and day difference. It is still a fair bit different. Run meters, Chiefs average 427, Highlanders 432. It's within a few meters of each other, so it's very tight. Tackling percentage, the Chiefs edge it with 86, the Highlanders are at 82. So it's maybe a little bit of an area of concern. Because you remember that Highlander side of old that had like Luke Whitelock and whatnot. They just used to tackle the house down, but it's changed a wee bit. The Highlanders do kick a bit more, 20 kicks a game compared to the Chiefs 17. The Highlanders have the better line out. The Chiefs have the better scrum. It's on paper, man. It looks like it's going to be a heck of a game, so I'm really looking forward to it. 7 o'clock. 7:05 on Saturday. The Highlanders are the favourites for this one. TAB, which is the bookies over here in New Zealand, got the Highlanders by 4. Whereas Rugby Forecast algorithm goes a step further and says Highlanders by 7. So, yep, we will see. As I mentioned, it should be a pretty good game. And just in terms of the competition, there's a lot to play for, especially for the Highlanders. Remember, the Chiefs have still got that game in hand, so they can afford to drop one, maybe. But if the Highlanders win this one, go to an even record to back up a win over the Crusaders, they'll be, really pushing for a final spot in the final few rounds. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. I think both of these sides have been bottom of the log at one point this season, but neither of them there is at the moment, so they're looking up. It'll probably only work out for one, but we will see. You guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.